Alrighty, so today we are talking about creating authority and having a power stance online without you sounding like a douchebag. Hope you're ready for that one because it's going to be great. Have you seen those people online, particularly on Facebook and through your news feeds, or maybe even in your inbox, where you're kind of like, you sound like an idiot. You sound like you're completely full of yourself, that maybe you know what you're talking about, but actually maybe you don't. And it kind of comes across like they're a little bit douchey, or maybe they need a little bit of an ego check, right? We don't want people thinking that about you, okay? So we want to be really super aware of the things that you're creating and how it is that you are demonstrating your authority online. Now, I'm a really big fan of doing things from a powerful stance and from a powerful place versus trying to force them. And what forcing looks like, it's like you're sitting there and you're kind of like, this is what I need to do, this is what I need to do, and I need to post, and I need to do this, and you're like, no. And it kind of feels, even energetically, it feels off. It doesn't feel right. It feels really forced, like almost like these people are trying too freaking hard. So what does power look like? Power looks like someone who is really grounded in themselves. Someone who speaks with authority, with confidence, who knows their stuff, who doesn't pause for too long because you sound like a dick. So what we want to do when you're positioning yourself online, we want to speak from that really, this is whether you're typing, whether you're talking, like literally speaking, or even if you're in a physical event, right? Even if you're in the room, this is the kind of stance that we want to have. We want to have this power stance. So what I really want you to do first and foremost is you can stand up with me, and I really want you to feel like your feet are like firmly planted in the ground. I want you to feel like your shoulders are down and that you're good to go, okay? And I want you to claim this space that's around you right now, this ground. This is yours. This is your territory. And people can come up and that's fine. But you know what? This is you, kind of like the queen, I imagine, right? You're a freaking queen. You're a rock star. You own this space. You are freaking amazing, and that's how I want you to feel for a moment. Now, when you really kind of feel that, you can be like, right, that's that feeling. So when you're sitting at your computer, or you're sitting at the coffee table, or you're out in a cafe and you've got your phone out and you're ready to post, I want you, before you start typing anything, before you start doing anything, before you start filming, get into this power stance of being super grounded, feeling really confident, and remind yourself that you know your stuff and that you are a freaking rock star, okay? Awesome. So we've got our little power stance going on. The next thing that you need to be aware of and remember is that you know your stuff. You've got to know your content. You cannot create authority consistently or over the long term if you're trying to fake it till you make it. It is a bunch of bullshit, and it's not gonna, it won't work. It's not going to cut it. All right, there are enough people out there bullshitting their way, faking it till they make it, and you just don't want to do that. So know your stuff. You know more right now than what you probably think that you know, and you actually also know more right now than what your ideal client knows right now. All right, so that immediately puts you at least 2 to 3 steps in front of where they are right now. And that is really freaking awesome for you, because you can be like, you know what, maybe I'm, a lot of people are like, oh, but maybe I'm too new. But I haven't been in business for very long. How can I command authority when I'm a startup? Freaking forget that. It doesn't matter how long you've been in business for. It doesn't matter how long you've been doing what you're doing for, so long as, and this is a caveat here, so long as you know how to help people and your stuff works. If your stuff does not work, press stop, go find someone else to follow right now because I don't have time for it. All right, you've got to be able to help people. Your things need to work, your stuff needs to work, because there is no point investing this time, energy, and money into building your brand, building authority, creating this kind of stance if it's all about manipulation. Like that's just wrong. Okay, so I'm going to get off my little high horse and soapbox around that. So you're going to have your power stance, and I want you to remember that you actually know your stuff. So you might need to go back and do a little bit of a stock take about what you actually do know. You know, what's your experience? What trials and tribulations and wins have you had? How have you helped other people? It doesn't need to be tons of people, but how have you helped other people with what it is that you are talking about? Because the next part about creating a power stance is about, you know, certainty. It's about an inner knowing that, you know what, you've got this. And no matter what gets thrown at you, you will find a way to solve that person's problem. You know what? I don't have all the answers. Don't tell my kids. There are some times where I've got clients who are like, oh, Nicola, you know, I really need help with X, Y, Z. And not all the time, but fairly, or not sometimes, not very often, I'll go, oh, you know what? That's a really great question, and leave it with me because I want to find the best answer for you. So I will actually go, you know what, I don't know. This would be my educated opinion. This would be my educated answer based on what I know. But hey, let's car park that for a moment, and I would really love to come back to you with an appropriate answer and a way that we can move forward, or I'll find someone who can answer that for you. Right, so you need to be certain in what you do know, and there will be things that come across, and this is a bit of a boundaries issue, there will be things that come up that you might not even want to touch with a 10-foot barge pole. You know, I don't relationship coach. There are lots of things, and I'm just like, you know what, you need to go talk to someone about that. You need to go talk to a different type of professional person for you to be able to get that. So when you've got that inner knowing about what it is that you really know, what you know well, what you're really going to talk about, the stuff that you really know inside out, and you've got that level of certainty, that's when you can start to speak with certainty. And that takes practice, all right? It means that, you know, I don't want you kind of like being all like, and it's really easy to get super nervous and a bit anxious, you know, that's all really normal. Lots of people, when they get scared, nervous, or they're not quite sure, they start speaking really up from up here in their chest. And what that does is it kind of really changes the tonality. Now, if you find that you're ever going to an event or you're talking like that, stop and just take yourself out of the room for a moment. Go to the bathroom even, and, you know, get yourself into a cubicle. And like what I was getting you guys to do at the start, how about we just get into that really nice grounded power stance, this is my space, back into that kind of position. Because what happens then is your voice kind of drops from here and it comes back here, and you're back in your body. And when you're doing that, that's the place where you can speak most powerfully. All right, and that creates like a match for people. Your physiology matches the voice that's coming out of your mouth. The words match the voice, which match your stance. And that's the kind of unconscious things that people are listening for and looking for when they're deciding whether or not to trust you, whether they're deciding whether or not to listen to you, whether or not they're actually going to take on what you're saying and go and do something with it, versus, you know, what most people do is that they sit there and consume and they got on the spot and they actually go off and they pay no other attention. So in order to be able to speak really confidently and all of that, you've really got to come back first and foremost to that really grounded, nice power stance that I was saying, like around here. Now, those kinds of speaking is going to be relevant. The way that you speak, using that, you know, dropping back in is going to be relevant even if you're speaking in public, if you're speaking formally on stage, if you're introducing yourself at a networking event with who you are, what you do, who you help, and things like that. If you go to BNI and you're talking or speaking for the first time, that's a really big thing. When you're on your video blogs and doing this, like people want to hear and feel that, you know, that it's congruent, that you're aligned, that you know your stuff. Because like I said earlier, like they can smell a fake a mile away. So you've really got to be in that place. And the other really cool thing is that you can use this stance for podcasting. You can use it for speaking in public. You can use it for absolutely everything that you're creating. So if you've got any questions about this on how to create your power stance, let me know. You can ask your questions below. You can email me. You can find me on social media. I am everywhere. Most of all, remember, the key here is being super grounded, super certain, and remembering that you know your stuff. All right? I'll see you in the next video.